Oh, welcome to the Riverwood Trader. How may I help you?
I have a load of wood for you.
Okay, let's see now. 60 pieces.
54, I'm keeping some.
Alright then. That makes 108 gold. Here you go.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
As Dianae trudges down the shadowy lane, she peers into the gloomy evening, becoming more depressed with every fat drop that lands upon her and vanishes, never even dampening her clothes.
Even the town drunk is smart enough not to be out in this mess. It doesn't really make me particularly cold or wet. It's just depressing to walk around in.
There is a small rise in the road, and as Dianae ascends, her cottage humps up out of the earth like a rock sinking into the mud, but in reverse.
Home sweet hovel.
She continues to grumble about her lot in life.
Spent the entire day chopping wood. Why? This serves no purpose. All I got was a few coppers. Woo!
Inside, the cottage is much brighter, the very air seeming to illuminate more than the meager candles flickering about the room. Dianae pulls a rabbit leg from a carcass hanging nearby and robotically walks over to the hearth. By rote, she roasts it in a cooking pot, then walks over to the table, grabs a loaf of bread, and sits in the chair to consume them both, washing it all down with a small bottle of mead. After eating the simple dinner, Dianae shuffles toward the large bed to sleep away the cares of the day.
There's got to be more than life than this. Tasteless food and rain that doesn't dampen. I feel like I'm stuck in a game, not living a real life.
The scene fades as Dianae falls asleep, and when she wakes the next morning, she immediately notices something is different.
What is this feeling? My stomach's in knots.
Compelled by raw needs, Dianae tries to navigate the darkly lit cabin.
Ugh, I can't see anything. It doesn't usually get this dark, not even in a cave at night.
She stumbles outside to be greeted by a lazy dawn speckling the yard with morning sun.
Everything looks so vibrant, so detailed. The cows, the trees. What is going on?
She shakes her head in wonderment and ambles over to give a young steer a scratch behind the ear.
Where did the extra cows come from?
Beyond the animals, vegetation sprouts up everywhere. Mountain flowers speckle the ground with pale red tufts, and bright purple thistle blossoms bristle in the sun.
Dragon's tongue. These have never grown this far west before.
Rounding the fence, Dianae spies a lantern sitting on a rock, tucked up against the side of her cabin. She stops for a moment as it dawns on her. This world must have become more real. Excited with the prospect of exploring new sights and wonders, Dianae runs through the village. Nightshade grows in front of the trash barrels that now appear to be made of real wood. The yard in front of the inn is now a riot of color.
Snowberries, too.
Her stomach twists with the thought of tasting a pie made from them.
What's this? A horse? A water fountain?
Dianae runs across the road to examine the small rock fountain. She fills an empty bottle and gulps the whole thing down, then gasps as a knot in her stomach loosens its grip.
Refreshing. I've never felt this before. I was actually thirsty.
Riverwood's main drag is half concealed by a new forest of trees. Every building seems to have become more detailed. The wood is richly grained, and the ropes and chains look fully three-dimensional. She runs across the bridge and over to the forest, which is magically regrown. More thistles and dragon's tongue and nightshade are joined here by red and blue mountain flowers, mushrooms, and death bells. She sees her lunch from the day before forgotten on a tree stump, untouched by last night's not quite real enough rain. Her belly grumbles insistently, and she gives in to her hunger, eating the bread and cheese.
I can taste.
The knot in her stomach finally uncoils and releases Dianae from its distraction. Greetings, Dianae! She hears a tiny voice call to her from the bushes nearby and moves to investigate. Dianae stares in disbelief as a tiny firefly speaks to her. The gods of Tamriel love this world so much that they felt compelled to have it remade for all of us. Marvel at the sights. Take in the wonder. But watch out! While we can now feel the warmth of a fire, we can also feel the bitter sting of a blizzard.
This is just too weird.
Dianae turns away to continue her explorations. On the far side of the island is another bridge, continuing the path across the river.
This wasn't here yesterday.
The water in the river flows realistically, rippling around wet-looking rocks. Heedless of the firefly's warning, Dianae jumps into the river and swims to the large rock jutting from the middle of the river.
The rocks are wet, and so am I. I'm actually soaked.
Dianae slips on the wet rock and splashes back into the river, swept down past the bridge and fetches up against another rock. She trudges across the river and up the far bank.
Oh look, a mud crab.
The startled crustacean burrows into the stream bed, mimicking the rocks nearby. A brisk wind blows down from the mountains rising above the falls, chilling our soggy hero to the bone.
Brr, I'm cold.
Suddenly remembering the bug's warning, Dianae begins to panic.
Oh my god, I'm wet, and I'm cold, and I feel like I'm freezing. I should light a fire and get warm.
Dianae builds a fire using leftover wood from yesterday and lights it with a simple fire spell.
Flame.
She then erects a tent in the glow from the fire. Dianae lies down upon the bedroll in the tent and immediately begins to feel better. The fire dries out her clothes and feeling returns to her cold hands. As Dianae rests, she begins to feel drowsy, another new sensation which she gives into. When she wakes, Dianae finds herself back in her hovel, the muted sunlight suffusing throughout the cottage as though soaking directly through the walls and ceiling.
Oh no, no, no!
An empty feeling of loss fills her gut. In the yard, all sign of the rich flora is gone, like it had never existed. One single cow is standing lonely in the bare grass. Dianae charges past the now muted-looking fence, down the path towards the inn. The barrels are back to their previous state, and across the street, the fountain is gone as well, leaving only the broken wall and a view of the river. Sick with a profound sense of having seen what should have been, Dianae now tearfully gazes upon the bare stumps and grass where the firefly's fairy garden had been. Even the bridge is no longer there, leaving no trace that it had ever been.
All gone. It's all gone. Even the river is cloudy. What should I do?
Dianae looks at her hands and realizes the answer to her dreams is right here.
Like the god Talos did when he was mortal, I will go to the Wizard's College, where I will learn to modify my world as I see fit. I will study hard and learn to make my own changes and share them with the world, so everyone can see that there's more out there than chopping wood and farming leeks.